Hey, I'm back. It's Dr. Eveangel Savage. Just as promised, we are going to get on to 1.2 of our series, which is called Get Past the Learning Curve of Social Media. As promised, I'm moving forward with the social media series, and I want to just give you every lesson I have learned. I have implemented all of these things, and so it's critical that we give back, and so I'm going to give back all of those things. I guess. Hey everybody, thank you for joining. So we're talking about we're talking about getting past the learning curve of social media. This is Dr. Eveangel Savage over at Audacity Group Social Enterprise. I am your social enterprise strategist, and I help individuals to identify, initiate, and implement, strategies of distinction for investment readiness. Regardless of whether you want an investment or not, being investment ready means that you are polished, right? So here goes. These are some great tips. We're going to be talking about 4 subject areas. We're going to be talking about 4 subject areas that are very, very important when you're beginning your social media campaigns. So, 1, benefits of small business. Reap from the mistakes of big business. Take advantage of the success of others, and then find time to build your own online commerce. Let's talk about the benefits. We all know that small business struggles to get through the layers of management. No, the big business suffers to get through the layers of management because it's too many layers. It's department after department. You have to deal with the cultures of departments. And many of you have been in corporate America already know that it is an absolute struggle when you are in corporate America just trying to get a purchase order passed, right? So can you imagine with what it's like for marketing and social media, because they're putting their stamp on things, so they are really concerned about what's going out under their name. Well, small business doesn't really have to deal with that because we are small, we make our own decisions, and you go with it. But like I said in 1.1, you better have a protocol. Have a protocol that dictates how your social media is going to be ran. Hey Devin, good to see you, sweetheart. So 2, snuff out the my department versus your department. You don't have to deal with that on your platform because you are your boss. You develop your culture, and your culture should be very important to you. It should mimic who you are. It should really reveal who you are, and that is very, very important. If you are passionate about what you do, and you want to be careful about what you put in your protocol so that you don't have to constantly go through damage control. So the next one is the attitude is we're all in this together. That's the thing about a small business. We're in this together. We can kind of do what we need, but make sure, again, go back to that protocol. Make sure you establish a protocol of how you want your program to be ran. The next one is you have the competitive edge. And why? Because hey Yasmin, good to see you. As entrepreneurs, we have the advantage of those lessons that were learned. Let's think about it for a minute. When you decide whether a campaign would work better on another platform, you can just do it, right? You can just do it. Hey girl, good to see you. Thank you for inviting your followers. And you can act quickly. You don't have to deal with the layers and the layers of big business, right? That is so important. And so we have actually the competitive edge. Another thing is you can respond to messages quickly without pre-approval. Big business, again, has to go through layers. But in small business, we can respond through our Google alerts. We always know what's going on. And if you instill the practices from 1.2, then you know that you're going to get the alerts that keep you reminded of what you need to be on the lookout for in terms of your social media. Or you can have, a people assigned to do that, but cautious. For example, news or comments. Say some big breaking news comes along, or someone makes a comment on your blog, or makes a comment about some breaking news about your company. If it comes across, your company comes across, and you have those Google alerts set, then you have the ability to act very swiftly in terms of anything may be positive, anything may be negative. You have the ability to move hastily. Big business cannot right these wrongs because of the red tape. They can't. So as small businesses, we can learn from those things, lessons learned that come from big business. And we aren't finished with that yet. So let this be your time to shine. Let it be your time to shine, because as an entrepreneur, you can shine in your space, but make sure that you set a protocol that you can stick with, a protocol that you are having your team stick with, a protocol that keeps you from having to have, always constantly have damage control. And listen up, folks, because I'm going to tell you why. Big business mistakes, and let me share some of those with you. There have been a lot of big business mistakes that we can learn from. Hey girl, mistakes made from other people create sweet lessons, sweet lessons for you. And I'm going to share some of those with you. Think about some of the humorous comments, right? They're good, but some of them are offensive, right? And they can cause disasters sometimes. But if you have a protocol in place, then you can address you can address those things. Because these thoughts, comments of other people can be perceived negatively in your industry. So you want to be mindful of that, mindful of the big business mistakes. And let's go to talk about that. When you go publicly to criticize somebody, let's take the NBA, for example. When I think it was the Mavericks, when the young man made that big mistake with the Mavericks, and he had to pay that costly fine, right? So he had to pay a huge fine. Well, you don't want to be associated with those kinds of disasters. So be mindful of the things you say, the things you do, and the people you associate yourself with. It's very, very important. So let me share another one with you. Understand the accounts are not private. They're not private. People think that their accounts are private. They think they're private. But if you go, everything you say and do is Google searchable. Check out Google and Bing. Whenever you go to Google and Bing, their information is integrated. That data is integrated into the search engines. So it's very, very important that what you say and do, you be cautious about it, because it's a reflection of who you are as a professional. Very, very important, if you are a professional in your industry, that you be very mindful of the things you say, the things you do, the things that you may say that may harm somebody else, because you don't know how it's going to negatively affect their industry. But surely it will negative. You may not see it now, but it will negatively affect your industry as well. So be very mindful of that. Okay, don't become, because if you don't, you're going to become a negative trend. You're going to become a negative trend even when you don't think that you are. Because I have found my name in places, thank God I didn't find them negatively. Every time I do a Google search, and I do one every day, because I'm always putting out content, whether it's on my blog, whether it's in LinkedIn, whether it's in Facebook, whether it's on Twitter, whether it's in Periscope. I got content everywhere. And when you have content everywhere like that, you better have some systems in place that check and balance, that check what you're doing. Because if you're not checking what you're doing and what's out there, you will have no idea that you really aren't all that you say you are. You got to be very mindful of that. Very, very important. So run a search. Here's how you can figure that thing out. The success on the internet, by looking at the success of others. Check this out. There is a program called Clout. K-L-O-U-T. Somebody put that in the chat box. K-L-O-U-T. When you use Clout, you can do a search on any company, and you can find out everything you want to find about them. What's their success rate? What are they doing? Who are they communicating with? How successful are they? Yada, 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 yada. So be sure you can measure your competition. You can measure your competition, and you can measure yourself. So be mindful of that, because you have a rating from 1 to 100, and there are millions of people who are followed by Clout, and they don't even know it. They don't even know it. So be mindful of that. The next lesson. So how do you prepare? How do you prepare for social media? One, go back and look at 1.1 that I talked about this morning when you create your action plan. It's going to be on YouTube. It's also going to be here on Periscope. I don't know how long, because I'm going to start, leaving up for a period of time, and I'm going to take them down. But it will also be on YouTube. And if you're in my Strive to Thrive, tribe, then you'll have access to my YouTube, and you'll also have access to anything that I'm putting out there in terms of these social media lessons. So what do you do to prepare? Some lessons. Market your professional services delicately. I can't say that enough. Market your professional services delicately. Be mindful. You are a professional. Be mindful of that. Wrong moves can tarnish your image. As simple as that. Wrong moves can tarnish your image. Just like I said about protocol, you better have some protocol in place. If it ain't working for you, if it ain't working for the people in your group, you ain't got to deal with it. So, because you can take your service somewhere else, right? So, my point is, you own your stage, you can stay in control of your stage, and you be mindful of making any wrong moves, because it can tarnish your image. And when you are with others, be careful. Everything you do and say, every comment that you make, everything that you support is out there in that space. Everybody ain't with it. Everybody is not with that. So be careful. All right. Another thing is, although you can connect with your clients on social media, you should have a hub. And I can't say this enough. You should have a hub of your own. What does that mean? You should have a website. You should absolutely have a space where you point people back to. You should never be pointing people away from who you are. You should never be pointing people away from your services. You should never be pointing people away from what's going to add value to your website. Your traffic. That's your traffic. If you are creating videos and creating content and you're creating a blog, it should point back to your website. It should always point back to your hub. And for those of you who don't know, don't put stuff inside of social media first. Don't put your content in social media first, because they own it. They can sell it. They can take it and do whatever they want to do with it, because they own this platform. But if you put it on your site first, if you put it in your space first, then you are the owner. You are the owner, and no one has the copyright on that. Okay? So be mindful of that. Very, very important. You have to develop the trust, concern, and be able to pivot. I recently went through a situation that I know that I have to pivot, but thank God for a plan B. Thank God for a plan B, because a sister never has one card going. I got an A, B, and a C. You better have an A, B, and a C, because if you don't, you're going to be impacted in a way, sometimes by actions of people that you didn't see coming. So you better have a B. All right, have a B. So, hey, Speak Truth. Hey, Addicted to Success. Thank you, guys. I'm seeing you, but I want to keep going with the content. All right, some things that you can do to lead people to your hub. Check this out. If you're not writing, you need to be. What can you do to lead people to your hub that can share in the many ways of what you do and engage with you and engage with you? Engage with you. Engage. Can I say it again? Engage with you. Okay. So one of those is having a library. Build a library around your profession. I'm an angel investor, so my library is centered around angel investors. My library is centered around the Black family. My library is centered around research. Because that's who I am. I'm sorry. This is what you must do. You can go back and catch the replay. It's going to be up for a minute. All right. So then the next one is life stories with your clients. If your clients have life stories about how you impacted their life, then you need to get their stories. Hey, how you doing? Thanks for joining. You need to get their stories video. Hey, I'll accept that. I heard about Miss Parker. I asked about that. I'll be Miss Parker today for you, okay? Life stories. Get them from your clients. Another thing, have a forum. Have a forum. Forums are important. I have one. I bought one and implemented it, but it's only accessible by my membership clients, okay? Then you can have a radio. I have a blog talk radio. If you can want to talk on your space, develop yourself a blog talk radio that is about you. That is all about you, so that you can begin to talk to your client base. You can get off of other people's space and deal with your space, some space that belongs to you. It's very important. I cannot tell you, because everything you do, when you do and I'm going to tell you why in a minute. Let me get to the bottom of this list. If you have a sister site, say for example, about the effects of your service. Let's say for example, you are a lawyer, all right, a divorce lawyer. And then you have a sister site about the success stories of divorce. Then you link to them, partner with them. That shows how your service affected other people, right? How your success affects other people. How your existence on this planet as a professional affects other people. And then another thing, you can do it yourself. You can do it yourself, but if you don't have time, find yourself somebody. Find yourself somebody. Let me reset. My name is Dr. Eveangel Savage. I am a social enterprise strategist, researcher, and I wear a lot of hats, but most of all, I'm a master implementer. And I'm talking today about social media and the effects of social media and how you can get around the learning curve. Also, there are apps that can help you determine readiness. For example, there is an app to determine whether you are investment ready. So that's going to go up on my website soon. Just like Addicted has an app that she can use to determine whether how ready her clients are for service. So these are things that can help you get beyond the social media curve. And I'm almost there. Now, let me tell you something. Whether you are brick and mortar or whether you are primarily online, your web presence is important. So let me tell you folks, you got Facebook, you got social media, you got all of these things. You can broaden your opportunity through these things. YouTube, a blog, Facebook, Google+, Pinterest, and newsletters. I have all of them. And let me tell you, all of them serve their own purpose. All of them have their own purpose, and all of them have their own voice. The voice is not the same, okay? The voice is not the same on all of these platforms. You have to learn what the voice is, and I am finally learning what the Periscope voice is, and I thank God for that, because it's important that we be able to be successful no matter where we are, no matter what we're doing, what social media platform we on. It's very, very important. So get past the learning curve. If this has added value to your life as a professional, as a business person, then share this on your Twitter space. Share this with someone. Also, I am going to be doing a series, like I said. If this information is good to you, please hit the Perry guy down the bottom. Make sure you're following me. Click your notifications so that you know when I'm on, because henceforth and forevermore, it's going to be about learning. Okay, it's going to be about content that you can use, and you can use this. So if you are an entrepreneur and you are a startup, or if you are, you might be in business and been in there a long time and just ain't getting it right. So if you're not getting it right, if you're not using these tips that I've given you today, I'm going to need you to review these tips, because they're very, very important tips, and they're important to the integrity. They are important to the integrity of you as a professional. You as a professional. At all times, I don't care where you are, what social media platform you on, who you talking to, you always have a level of professionalism, because I'm telling you, it's searchable, it's browsable. Google yourself. Find out who's attached to you and what they saying. Do you want to be attached to that? You have to ask yourself these questions, okay? So again, this is Dr. Eveangel Savage over at Audacity Group Social Enterprise, where I thrive with that sapphire and amber pride. I am your social enterprise strategist. I teach individuals to identify, initiate, and most of all, implement strategies of distinction for investment readiness. Whether you want investments or not, if you are investment ready, then you are likely to be polished. Thank you again. Thank you so much. I am about to jump off of this scope. It's time to pick up my little princess. Have a great day. I'll be back on later with some more social media content. Thank you guys.